Thank you. Hello friends, my name is Mykola Volokov, call sign Abdullah. I am the commander of the Terror Group, as well as the Chief Sergeant of the Unmanned Systems Battalion in the 3rd Separate Assault Brigade. Now we will watch together how we annihilate the occupant infantry and destroy the artillery that covers this infantry during their attempts to conduct assault operations. Thank you to everyone who supports us. Special thanks to our patrons on Patreon and sponsors on YouTube. Friends, become our patrons, become our sponsors. This support is very important to us. And for those who want to join, we have an active collection. We are collecting for drone guidance modification systems so that each drone flies exactly to its target. The collection link is attached to the video description. You can also become our patron or sponsor there, or by this QR code. Scan it with your phone. Support the armed forces of Ukraine. In this video, friends, there will be a lot of things that we are forced to blur out on YouTube. If you want to watch the full version without censorship, go to our Telegram channel Sobachka Terra OPS. So friends, let's go. The occupiers are trying to carry out assault operations. They are attacking in small groups, trying to exhaust our defenses. Here you see 3 instances of uninvited guests, and you can now observe the native tactics with which the occupier is trying to escape. One shoots, the other just runs, and the third tries to escape by transfer. But it doesn't turn out very well. A direct hit with a high explosive fragmentation munition, right under your feet with the corresponding consequences. And this is the second drone of the Project Spike calculation looking for those who targeted after the first approach. It guards over the battlefield, looking for where they could hide. Now, by the way, you see another example of tactics, how you can escape, in quotes, actually escape, because I'll reveal the secret. I'll run a little ahead, no one will escape. The calculation finds the target, it lies directly in the background of the gap. You see, it masks him a bit and you can't understand him right away. He pretends to be a fallen warrior, and now he's really becoming one. The third event. Project Spike is looking for another invader who may have been hiding somewhere. We have this information from the Mavic 3 reconnaissance drone. Here, you see how the Mavic 3 sees the target. You can see how the drone enters the position, and this one tries to avoid its fate by tactically curling up. It curled up and thinks that we won't understand who it is and what it is. Now it will be a very good impression. Unfortunately, it's blurred here. Follow the link in the video description, there in the Telegram channel, and it will be uncensored. Direct hit, and let's zoom in like this. It was dismantled. The second pair of occupiers want to reach the accumulation zone to conduct assault operations on our infantry positions. We continue to observe attempts to avoid a terrible fate. Tay shoots and at the same time makes an evasive maneuver. But look how coolly the crew pilot Spike makes his maneuver. He waited a little while for the occupier to fall, and then, steering the drone to the left, accurately hits his silhouette, lying on the ground. Again, the reconnaissance drone confirms a direct hit, as well as the detonation of a high explosive fragmentation munition. The occupier goes to Kobzon for a concert. And this is another overhead calculation which works in tandem with the Project Spike calculation, refining those occupiers who still remained on the battlefield. This one, for example, first hid, and then decided to lie down on a barrel. Let's see if that saved him. Look, there were actually 2 of them there, and here we see the explosion of a fragmentation munition. Not a very big explosion, but the main method of impact is the fragments that were inside the munition body, and they all hit the target exactly. As we can see, there is no activity at the moment. There is one reason. Both uninvited guests went to a concert of a full-fledged Skabzon. Meanwhile, the enemy is actively supporting the assault with artillery systems. If we want to stop his efforts and disrupt his plan, we must destroy not only the infantry that is advancing, but also the artillery systems that are covering it. In this case, it was 120 enemy mortars. Now you will see what happened to them. And now the main character is calculating revenge. By the way, these guys learned to work delicately on enemy artillery, namely on enemy mortars. As a rule, mortar positions are well dug in. That is, the mortar does not stand on the ground but stands in a pit. This is because its shot trajectory follows a wide arc. Look, here is this pit, and there is a mortar in it. How carefully the calculation flies there. Pay attention to the fact that at the last moment the picture disappeared and the pilot actually at random, just this movement has already been memorized. Hits the mortar which is in the pit. An explosion, white smoke falls and the mortar is no longer in the same position. You can see there it is lying in the bushes. Most likely it was crushed by the high explosive effect. Perhaps some of the fragments passed through its body, but we cannot be sure that it is destroyed, so a control shot is always fired. A control shot to the head of the mortar. The same thing, the picture sticks out. There it is lying. You can see the drone, a direct hit, a nice explosion with fire. Now we believe that the mortar is out of action or completely destroyed. By the way, did you notice how the second time the revenge calculation hit the mortar body right in the body? And this mortar is dug near the parapet. By the way, one drone has already made an impression there. And you see, one of the logs is lying on the ground. It is very difficult to fly into such a small gap. You can also see the obstacles created by the enemy's electronic warfare means. Here it is, you see, its barrel, and now the revenge will fly right into it. Here, friends, you can clearly see that the mortar itself, or rather its muzzle, is slightly crushed from the side. Something is rubbing from it there. This is the result of the impression by the first drone. But we always hit targets, especially such as mortars. There is one reason they can fire at our infantry. They cover the infantry of the occupier, which is advancing, so enemy artillery is always a priority target for us. Here you see a reconnaissance drone observing, the etherealness promising a precise target, an explosion, the mortar destroyed. Thick black and white smoke pouring down. The reconnaissance drone will continue to observe this magnificent picture, an example of accurate work, extremely precise work of calculating revenge for some time to come. Friends, please look at how the HPV pilot sees the battlefield. It is not clear where this mortar is hiding, it is not clear in principle, but having preliminary intelligence data from the reconnaissance drone, we know that it is there. It was not very visible in this frame, but in this first impression the goal was to remove the protective net that covered the mortar. This is the same mortar, the protective net has been removed, it is already visible, there it is. In the last frame you could see it. There is a direct impression, you see, a piece of camouflage is flying in different directions, the mortar is hit. The reconnaissance drone continues to observe, waiting for the detonation of the ammunition. Events continue to unfold, and we destroyed the infantry that stormed. We destroyed its cover in the form of 120 mortars. And now we will finish off those who tried to escape. Look at how this guy hides behind a tree, thinking that nothing will happen, but it will. And a direct hit to the 5th point. The scout confirms the detonation. We know for sure that this occupier has been neutralized. And here I want to show you what the real picture of the battlefield looks like. The ground trees, trenches, and dugouts have also been destroyed by our kamikaze semi-drones. We are looking for occupiers who could have aimed, who could have pretended to be those who are no longer there. We have to do this because we have to be 100% sure that no occupier will put pressure on our infantry positions. You could just see how many drones are circling over this zone. A dead zone, a death zone, a destruction zone. Here you can see enemy trenches, enemy dugouts, how many trees have been knocked down. All that is blurred is what we cannot show here. A drone explodes, flying into a dugout, probably having information that someone might be hiding there. Again, friends, if you want to watch it without censorship, follow the link in the description. The TerrorOps Telegram channel is called. Or scan the QR code with your mobile phone, which is in the corner of your house right now, and support it. If you like how we work, then support our unit. The Project Spike Epidrone pilot continues to carefully fly over the battlefield, looking for those occupiers who may be hiding somewhere. You see how many dugouts, how many holes, how many well-fortified positions are used as support for the assault on our defense lines, where our stormtroopers, mechanizers, in fact, the coolest guys are holding the defense. And not finding any target, except for this uninvited guest, perhaps he is pretending. They know how to do it. They know how to pretend well that they are in the state in which they are lying there, and a direct impression is made. A direct impression in the 5th point. The drone scout is also looking for A Taipans, confirming the detonation of the drone from spent ammunition. And you see in the movie Joker there was a pencil, and now he's gone. Friends, thank you for your attention. This is how we treat those who came to occupy this land. This is how we treat their artillery. This is how we treat their infantry. Once again, thank you to all those who support us, who want to join us. Scan this QR code and support the armed forces of Ukraine. Friends, victory will definitely come. It will be ours and yours together. Glory to Ukraine.